Hey guys, my name is Ryan and welcome to Overwatch Central. Seeing as Ana's recently been buffed, a lot more players are playing her, but she is one of the most difficult heroes to get your head around. So I figured I'd sit down with top 500 player Ml7 when it comes to the big mistakes that he sees Ana players making. Before we get started, let us know your big Ana mistakes that you see a lot of players making at your SR, and do check out Ml7 stuff in the description below. Let's get straight into it. So we'll start with introductions in case anybody missed the previous videos that we did with you, Ml7. Who are you and why should people be playing more Ana at the moment?
Hello Ryan, thank you for having me on. I am a top 500 Overwatch streamer that mainly plays Ana. I currently have 4 accounts in top 500, 2 of them being in top 50. And I think that people should start playing more Ana, as right now Sombra is kind of like a spicy pick, so to say, which makes Zen's life kind of harder. And I think that Ana's gonna become meta as soon as possible, especially in pro play.
She's also really good in like GOATS comp as well, like triple support, triple tank, instead of a Moira, right?
Exactly. The main reason why she works in those types of comps is because they usually a counter to that comp is running with the Pharah, and if you play with a Moira you don't have a hit scan long range, but if you play with a Nana you can just 1-tap or 2-tap the Mercy in the air, the Diva just flies up and you counter the counter comp to GOAT, so to say. So this is why one of the reasons why people prefer Ana to Moira in GOATs recently.
So with these mistakes, you've actually ordered them from, subtle mistakes that you can make that don't matter as much to huge ones that can cause map losses, basically. First one is a generic one, bad cooldown management. Have you got any sort of good, solid advice for that one, or good examples of what you shouldn't be doing?
A lot of people, when they first start playing Ana, or even after they play Ana a lot, they tend to mismanage the usage of their abilities. What I mean by this is, a really good example I can give is, for instance, when you use your nade and you're against a dive comp, the second you use your nade and you're against a good tracer player, the tracer is going to contest you because you don't have any passive healing regeneration, I mean. So you should try to keep an eye out on how you use your abilities and try to use them as smart as possible. Another top example and tip I can give to people is especially with the sleep dart. A lot of people just use their sleep dart either mindlessly or they keep it for too long. A cool tip again I can give is, especially when you know that, let's say, Pharah didn't ult for 2 minutes, Soldier didn't ult for 2 minutes, or you know that Genji has Blade Up, even Reinhardt has Earthshatter, and the examples can go on and on. You should make sure you have your sleep dart up when the fight begins, just to, even though you're not gonna hit the sleep you're not gonna hit the sleep sometimes, it is better to just have it up, just in case you're gonna use the sleep dart to counter the enemy ultimate. So again, don't try to use your abilities recklessly, try to use them smart, but don't try to keep on them for too long, as Ana's abilities are one of the strongest in the games.
Another mistake that you've highlighted to do with, Ana's really strong kit is the lack of offensive grenades and being too passive. Like, when do you know when you can get the perfect sort of offensive grenade off, and when should you save it for yourself?
You should play offensive with Ana and use offensive grenades when you don't need the passive ones. What I mean by this is your team is not under pressure, your team is not going to take a lot of damage in the next period, let's say 5 to 10 seconds up until you're gonna have your next nade up, so you're free to do an offensive grenade. For instance, let's say the enemy team is grouping up. If you throw an offensive grenade in the beginning and it hits the enemy team, then you won the fight. But if you throw the offensive grenade and it does not hit the team, if the enemy team is good, they're just going to hard engage you because you don't have a passive grenade to heal up your teammates. So again, use offensive grenades when you don't need defensive grenades. A cool trick to use them is, especially in Reinhardt versus Reinhardt battles, the second you see the Reinhardt start swinging, if you feel like the other Reinhardt is going to keep on swinging, you can use your grenade onto your Reinhardt so it explodes both on your Reinhardt, being a defensive grenade, and on the enemy Reinhardt, making it also an offensive grenade.
There's so many moving parts to play in Ana. There's so many different abilities and ways that you can play her. When it comes to sort of the general aim, not necessarily how to be better at aiming, but the, scoping in and stuff, do you have any mistakes or advice around that?
Yes. Especially right now, double sniper is kind of falling out of the trend of the meta, but I still think that we're still going to see at least a Widow or Hanzo from time to time. So people really need to open their ears on this and listen. A lot of people, when they play Ana, they only know two types of aiming. They know unscoped shots, which are projectiles, and scoped in shots, which are hit scan. The problem with unscoped shots is that sometimes they're unreliable because people move and you're gonna miss the projectile. And the problem with scope shots is that you move slower when you aim with them. The solution to it is to do quick scopes. So when you do quick scopes, it is a hit scan shot, and it allows you to reposition yourself in such a manner that you're not gonna move slower when you're gonna do quick scopes as you would move slower when you would do scoped in shots normally. It's really important to know how to quick scope, especially against snipers, as I said previously, because if you stay scoped in, again, you move slower, so you're easier to hit. If you do quick scope shots, it allows you to reposition yourself a lot of the times. A really good example I can give is, let's say you're playing, I don't know, King's Row, first point defense. You're staying in the back of the hotel, just staying. You don't want to do unscoped shots because you feel like they're not going to hit your teammates. So you just stay scoped in and even do 2 or 3 shots. The next second, you're dead. If you want to do a hit scan shot and you're against a sniper or you're against an immediate threat from the enemy team, you should just try to do quick scope shots that allow you to reposition. Like, you're still a sniper, so you need to move as much as possible. You cannot stay in one spot. Although Anna's a grandma, she needs her running to keep her healthy, so to say.
So the next mistake that you have on this list actually is staying on the point/payload when it's not needed to cap it. Like, you're the backline as the support, you're the person right at the far back of your team. Surely you want to be the one moving the payload, so when is that not the case?
When the enemy team is about to contest the point, either being at the payload or the point that you're trying to cap, you should not stay on it if your presence is not needed to cap it. Because when they walk in, the enemy team has 2 missions. They have the mission to contest the payload or the point, and they have the mission to cut out the main healing source of the enemy team, which is you most of the times. The way they can do it is either by diving you in the back and ignoring the point, contesting the point after, or contesting the point in such a manner that they kill your enemy team faster than they kill your team faster than you can heal them. So if you sit on point, they get both of the things at once. I'll give you an example. Let's say you're pushing the payload on Hollywood, second point. You're just around the jail and you know that the enemy team has another contest. In this particular scenario, like 5 seconds before the fight is going to go on, you tell your teammates to back out, and you tell your teammates so that somebody stays on payload and you back out, so that when they contest the payload, they fight the people on the payload and the people that are contesting them, and they cannot get to you in the back line. If they contest you in the back, they're going to C9. And again, this happens to me on stream a lot of the times. I've got 2 or 3 people, especially because you usually swap to really mobile characters like Doomfist, Tracer, Lucio, and other stuff like that to contest the point faster. They ignore the point, they go on to me in the backline, and the second I feel like they're coming towards me, I back out of the point, and they just waste their time and they C9. So again, to summarize, staying on point and payload when it is not needed to cap it is a must-know skill, especially for flex supports, for Ana and Zen players. If people are going to watch professional games, such as the games that went on in Overwatch League and that are going to go on, they're gonna see that right before the fight starts, the support leaves the payload to put himself in a really good spot. Again, it's really important to put yourself in a spot that allows you to get cover. So when you back out, you shouldn't back out like near the payload in the back on the middle of the road. You should back out somewhere near a building or a box or stuff like that.
Okay, nicely put. One of the big changes that Ana had was with her Nano boost being able to heal now. We've spoken about that previously. What kind of mistakes do you see with players using the ultimate?
People still use the ultimate in the old-fashioned way. That's the first mistake with it. So they only use the nano in an aggressive way, such as nanoing the DPS. Like, let's say you nano a soldier that uses visor, or you nano a Genji, which in this particular scenario, you should use the nano when they start using their ultimates, because you want the extra damage output to finish the enemy off faster. Or you can use the ultimate in a defensive manner. Let's say they're diving your Zen in the back, they're diving your McCree they're low HP, you nano them, and this is where the new mechanic comes in, where he gets bonus HP, so he survives. So that's really good. But Nano has another usage of it, because it has three styles: aggressive, defensive, and in between. The in-between one is the one that I love using the most, especially in my high rank games, because it allows to create space. I'll give you an example. So let's say you're attacking on King's Row first point. You don't have any ultimates, you're running with, let's say, Reinhardt, Widow, and Ana. Your Reinhardt doesn't have ultimate, you feel like he's not going to die, they have ultimates kind of, and you need to apply pressure. To apply pressure, you nano your Reinhardt, half HP so you get the most out of it, so to say. After you nano him, he starts swinging. Your main goal for him is to not get kills, so you're not using the nano offensively, and your main goal is not to not let him die, not to survive, you know. So you're not nanoing him defensively, you're nanoing him somewhere in between to create, like, let's say, a psychological panic in the enemy team, so that they need to focus him down and need to be careful about him, like we cannot ignore him. In this particular scenario, as I said previously, your Widow is going to shine, because the second you nano the Reinhardt, the enemy team is going to focus the Reinhardt or just try to pay attention to him as much as possible. And your Widow is going to not be that much contested, or they're not going to pay that much attention to her, so she's going to get free snipes. So again, players with the new Nano, they should keep in mind that they should use the Nano in the old-fashioned way as a DPS output, as nanoing the DPS. They should use the Nano in the new way, as nanoing somebody that is about to die and benefiting of the new healing that Nano offers. But they should also use it in somewhere in between, as in both an offensive and offensive and defensive style, so that you create space for your team to try and make plays.
And finally, what is the biggest mistake that you feel players should really stop making?
This has been asked a lot by everybody all the time. Ana has a lot of problems with line of sight. The main problem with it is that if you get out of line of sight, you can get killed. To heal your teammates, I mean. If you don't get out of line of sight, your teammates are going to die. And the easy way to explain it is, I just thought about an analogy. Think of yourself as a doctor in the battlefield. If you walk out of cover and die, your team is going to die anyway, because you're not going to be alive to treat them when they're going to need it. So the perfect play is to just sit in your own spot, which is the best spot possible, and ask your teammates to get in your line of sight. If your tanks are not getting into your line of sight, then they need to be more aware of where you're playing from. Because if you walk out and you die, they're not gonna receive healing, and you're just going to lose the point anyway. So your best bet is just to stay in your safety spot, so to say, and ask your team to come to you, so that you do not go to them.
Okay, and that's all of the mistakes you wanted to highlight. Any final things that you want to add?
Yes, I would like to say all future and current Ana players do not be discouraged, and to try to play the character as much as possible, as it is a really complicated character, and I guarantee that they're going to have fun playing her. So don't give up if you do not get the feeling of her in the first couple of games. Do not give up. Nobody was being born learned, so to say. So just have fun with it, and let's bring Ana back together. You can find me on Twitch, on twitch.tv/Ml7_OW, and also on my YouTube channel. I have a lot of Ana videos uploaded there. Thank you for having me on, Ryan. Good luck with the future videos, and thank you everybody for listening to me.
And that's it for this time. Thank you very much for watching. I do definitely implore you to check out Ml7 stuff. All of his stuff is in the description, including his Twitch. So if you want to learn a thing or two, then do go there. Thanks for watching. Take care. We'll see you then.